Hey there. Welcome to the Dallas Songwriters Association Songwriter Spotlight. I'm Barbara McMillen, and tonight our spotlight is on Michael R.J. Roth. Michael has been the lyric winner of the Dallas Songwriters Lyric Contest, NSAI Song Contest, the USA Songwriting Competition, the Great American Song Contest, and a Gold Award winner in the 2018 Mid Atlantic Song Contest. That's a big tongue twister. He is also featured in the Great American Song Hall of Fame and is known for his award winning original acoustic songs with the kind of lyrics that make Nashville writers salivate. Let me wipe my chin here a little bit. NSAI named him One to Watch. Long affiliated with DSA, he has won many awards from us through the years and placed multiple songs in the semifinalist of our song contest. Most recently, he was a grand prize runner-up in the DSA 2021 International Song Contest with the song he co-wrote with Eric Ramsey titled Gone, Gone, Gone. Tonight, Michael R.J. Roth is coming to us all the way from Panama City, Florida. Thank you so much, Michael, for being here tonight with us. Oh, we've got an audience. I love it.
Hey, Barbara.
Listen,
Thanks so much. Yeah.
for the number of years that I've known you, you have lived in a number of places, and now you've settled for a little while in Panama City. And I'm just wondering, where were you born?
I was born in a town called Erie, Pennsylvania, right up on Lake Erie.
Is that on the canal?
The canal? No, it's on the.
Was there an Erie Canal somewhere up there?
There's an Erie Canal, but it's in New York.
Oh, okay, all right. So
Yeah.
not anywhere near where you were.
It's, maybe 100 miles or so.
So so where did your songwriting start? I mean, did it start
So,
there or
started there, yeah, because I was in high school when I first picked up, the guitar and started listening to stuff, and I always sort of say that Sounds of Silence was the song that kind of turned my head. It really made me say that to myself that that's what I want to do because that song just blew me away, and I thought, yeah, this it wasn't, I want to hold your hand or something like that. This is like serious stuff, and I thought, yeah, it's very, very, very cool, and I really want to do that. So I started at that time. I wasn't planning on making a career as a singer songwriter. Um, uh, when I went on to college and then moved out to New Mexico after that.
but
Totally.
you were already writing songs before you moved to New Mexico?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Actually, yeah.
did you play in a band?
Well, I played with Harry Wolf. You know Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we used to play together in Santa Fe, New Mexico,
Okay.
and yeah, so we started writing songs together. Then we still do, and you've heard some of them,
Yeah.
and probably hear more if
Yeah.
if we have anything to say about it. Um,
So when you first moved to New Mexico, was it Los Alamos?
no, it was Santa Fe.
Santa Fe?
Yeah, I
Because I
lived
think
in.
I think you were living in Los Alamos when you first came to DSA.
I was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
did.
was
I
a long time ago.
moved up there because I got a
Hmm.
job up there, and yeah, came out with like.
Santa Fe, what a great town.
It is a cool town. It's such a
So
cool
was that a
town.
big inspirational town for you to was
Yeah,
was
I
that
think I think so. I mean, I didn't think of it as an inspirational. I mean, you live there, and it's just like it's very full of creative people and people from all over the world and stuff, and all kinds of talent and everything. And well,
so you met Harry in Santa Fe?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We started. We were playing separately, and then he approached me once, and then we started playing together, and it sounded pretty good. We thought,
Hmm.
and so yeah, we did that, and then he got married and went to California, and then later on I got married and started having billions of children and everything. So the songwriting, we
Kids getting away.
we kept in touch, but you got to feed people and stuff like that, and so we did that. But I kept songwriting, and Made a few trips to Nashville before the turn of the century, and made some friends out there, and had some good adventures. Got to talk to some publishers and things, but nothing ever turned into a deal of any kind. Had some almosts happened, which was great. That's like you got to have that. That's like your first song got dropped from the album thing is supposed to be like one of those little notches you put on in Nashville. Um, and then I went into the Foreign Service in 2003, and I was gone for like 14 years. Um, I always think of Arthur Rimbaud, the French poet, who was such a great. I don't know if you know his poetry, but he's a great poet, and he stopped writing when he was like 19 and went off and joined the Foreign Legion, and went off to the Middle East and was running guns and stuff like that. And yeah, and I thought him a lot because I not didn't quite follow the same path. I didn't get my leg shot off and things like that. But
Were you running guns?
no, I wasn't running guns. I deny that. I can neither confirm or no. I wasn't running guns, but I did get to go to the Middle East, and that was pretty cool, And so following in the steps of Barbe, and I came back to DC, and so I was working out of there. Just before I retired, I started playing in the we call it the DMV, in DC area, the DC, Maryland, Virginia circuit, and hanging out at because I hadn't really been playing for a long time. I had to really actually relearn uh, playing on stage again, and relearn a lot of my songs and so on. Um, so it was like an incubator time for me, even though I never really stopped. But and it was a good time for me, and I got to meet some great people. Mike Ryan. He's been
I see you've written some songs with Mike.
one, and yeah,
I
it's
see.
stellar. He's such a stellar songwriter, and he kind of stepped in it once because I had been a song called "Homeless Sky," and then he said, "Yeah, I got some ideas about that," and I went back to him later and said, "Yeah, you know what? I think we could do another song from that point of view." So we spent about it took us about a year. Of course, he's busy, I'm busy, but literally about a year to write "The Streets of Seattle." Um, and Yeah, that was great. It was really great to work with Mike and to hear him. He was one of the stars of the DMV circuit, still is, and he's out there doing stuff. But I got to meet tons of other people. Scott Thorne, who was I think he was like a second or third place grand
He
prize
he
winner.
was, yeah, he
Yeah,
was a winner a few
Scott
years back.
Thorne.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
we've written together, and a lot of great people there. My friend Aaron Michelle, who I wrote "The Price of a Song" with, and well, we there was a little place called Marble and Rye, and there was a guy named Dan Magnolia. Okay, and he ran it. I used to call it the Magnolia Mafia because it seemed to attract a great deal of talent around. I knew one day it's like they're going to look back on this and they're going to talk about this particular incubator of songwriters because it definitely was. Susan Rowe, I think she just played a concert out there, and she's been an award-winning songwriter. And um, I has Eli Lev, who actually is coming here to Panama City the 25th of June to play a concert with me.
I saw that on your website. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. That was my finder's fee for him. To let me play with him.
No, that's a good double bill, I'll have to say.
Yeah, no,
So
it
why
is.
don't you play your first song for us, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more.
Yeah, talk is cheap, right? All right, so let's start off with my hit song, the price of a song that I wrote with Aaron Michelle. Everybody wants a ticket to heaven. We all want that last drop of wine. We want to end the discussion and stand where the spotlight will shine. We all want something for nothing, like nothing ever went wrong. We want it all. We want it all for the price of a song. But the price of a song is the last glimpse of beauty before you go blind. The wounds of a soldier cut down under fire, the scar left behind, the tears of a mother with a child in her arms, the Judas kiss of a faithless lover who will rip out your heart for the price of a song. Oh. There's a song in the thunder and lightning, on the bloodthirsty edge of a knife, in a shot from a bottle of whiskey, pushing emptiness back in the night. There's a song on the highway before you, between the prison bars of a cell, in a cry out to God in the midst of misfortune, a glimmer of heaven while walking through hell. But the price of a song is the last glimpse of beauty before you go blind. The wounds of a soldier cut down under fire, the scar left behind, the tears of a mother with a child in her arms, the Judas kiss of a faithless lover who will rip out your heart for the price of a song. When I think of the times I've been injured, the ways I was maimed by the things I did wrong, and the pain that inevitably lingers through the night and into the dawn, I know I'm not one of the chosen. I know that I'm not very strong, but I know every time I was broken, I broke into song. I broke into song. Thanks to
All
artificial
right.
intelligence.
And the Wizard of Oz there.
The Wizard of Oz. I know. Dare not speak his name. But
So you talked about Simon and Garfunkel being a big influence and the song Sound of Silence. Who are some of the other influences that have influenced your songwriting?
there were so many. I think um, Joni Mitchell was one. She's just such a good lyricist. It was the lyric people that I was really attracted to. So people like, John Prine, and like Jackson Brown, and Leonard Cohen was probably the guy that sort of like resonated with me on a soul level more than anybody else. I
Hallelujah.
yeah, I know. He was the only one that could really bring spirituality into popular music. Like nobody else. And I always thought that was very cool. Actually, studied Zen with his teacher. You know, uh, they had a place out in Hemis Springs, New Mexico. And used to go out there once in a while, In fact, there was a one time they were doing a session, which is like a week long meditation retreat, and so they don't talk and everything, and they were doing a walking meditation, like there's a wooden building with a hall in it, and there's a boardwalk around the outside of the building, so people would walk on that to go around and meditate, and so they started coming around. So I was with some other people. I can't remember what I was there for, but we kind of got ourselves against the side, of the building, and the people started walking by, and then I saw out of the corner of my eye, I saw Leonard Cohen there, like this far away from me. I was like walking up to
Wow.
him. So and I never had a chance to talk to him, but I always tell people I know the sound of Leonard Cohen meditating, which, if you know anything about Zen, there's a famous, what's the sound of one hand clapping? It's like, so I never got to meet him verbally, but I got to meet him sort of psychically, and which is cool. I mean, I just, it was great. I got to hear
So,
him at a concert once too.
how do you think that the Zen has influenced your songwriting?
Well, it just forces you to confront being and nothingness in a way. I didn't stay with it because I got into Christianity. That's been my spiritual path for many, many years. But the Zen training was very useful, I thought. It's like, you're emptying yourself as much as possible and trying to let go of all these things that fill your head. It's a very useful practice. And I think that actually, I know I'm pretty sure that that Zen teacher was the role model for Yoda in Star Wars. So they looked a lot alike.
Oh no.
Awful alike. Yeah, I believe. But I never became a Jedi warrior, although I have been called a Jedi songwriter, which is really cool.
I saw that on your website. Well, what have you
Yeah,
got up next for us? You gonna give us another song?
yeah, I'm just talking too much here. All right, so this is one I personally like. That's kind of, I think of it as Williams meets Rod Serling. If I can get my lips to work, just a second. You'd think New Mexico would be the place where your lips stick, and it is. But surprisingly, Florida has that happen too. So if I step onto that train, a cheerless and distracted woman steps onto a train. I don't know where she is going. I don't know if she is sane. But she looks like she is walking through a portal to a time or a dimension where they store up the little things I forgot to mention when we met. And if I step onto that train, will I then travel through all time without a clue? Or will I find a home with what remains of the love that I believed I had with you? Was I a fool to think it ever really happened? And is it true that somewhere in another universe you are thinking of me too? I remember when our love was once as common as the air, a thing you take for granted till it's no longer there. You said my memories had no more substance than the early morning mist, or the sadness of a diamond in a pawn shop by the station where we kissed. And if I step onto that train, will I then travel through all time without a clue? Or will I find a home with what remains of the love that I believed I had with you? Was I a fool to think it ever really happened? And is it true that somewhere in another universe you are thinking of me And suddenly I'm lost without a compass to your heart, trying to find my place on some imaginary chart, to reconstruct the code of truth and lies, to find the words you really meant, and mend the fabric of the stars that rips apart with every sunrise since you left.
Well, all right, let's get into it. All right. So you've won a lot of lyric writing awards. And
Yeah.
so if we talk about the writing process, I would think that you would start with a lyric, but I know because you're Michael R.J. Roth, you're going to surprise me with an answer.
No, you're right. I usually start with lyric. I used to start with the music. You know, back in my 30s, when I was writing songs, I would always try to find a tune and then figure out what the words were that went to that tune. I did that for a long time.
Hmm.
But then for some reason, I'd be writing lyrics, and I found that if I worked with the lyric, it started to evoke melodies. So then, I started doing that, and then I got in the habit of doing that a lot, and now a lot of what I do, I write lyrics and I send them off to somebody else to write the music, like Eric Ramsey or Harry Wolf or Aaron Michelle or some other. I just give one to Shanna in a dress. I don't know if you know her, but she's great. Um,
Now,
we
who
did
co-wrote that last song with you? Who was your co-writer on that last
the
song?
the one I just did.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I wrote that myself.
Oh, okay. There's no co-writer.
No, I have a lot of songs that I just write
Could have
myself.
been the other you.
It could have been the other me. I don't know. It just seemed to grow out of it. So yeah, I do
Mhm.
write music too. But
Mhm.
if I feel like there's somebody else could do a better job than me, um, I send it off and then see if it works. Sometimes it doesn't work, but usually it does. It's like the people that I work with are people that and sometimes people will send me stuff and I'll work on the lyric. Usually, I might
So
have
you
some ideas about the music. Like Scott Thorne, we've been doing some stuff lately. Yeah.
so when you wrote that song, did you have like a story concept in mind and then you figured out what your hook was going to be, or how did that
No,
come about?
it's weird. Um, there, there was a lady actually who stepped onto a train, and I wrote that down there. A tearless and distracted woman steps onto a train, and I just kind of let that simmer, and it started growing. I got a first verse and everything, and um, then it took a while. Then I got a second verse, which was the last verse, and but then I felt like it needed something else, and um, I remember listening. I was at a award ceremony in DC, and listening to these people, and somebody had wrote a song about the diamonds in the sky, and it's like, and I think that was the same time that Sia song was out, or Beyonce did it, maybe diamonds in the sky.
Mm.
It's like. It's like, can't somebody write something, original about diamonds? It's like, and I came up with this line, sad diamonds in a pawn shop, and so that grew into the second verse, and I and the chorus was the explanation out of the first verse, and then um, I decided not to do chorus at the end, just let it end on that last verse. It was a long process, there. We had in DC there was like groups that got together. The Songwriter Association of Washington was great, and Jake Heating used to run a little called a toolbox, thing. So we would get together, bring together about a dozen writers and share songs and critiques. And so I used a lot of that. I always get feedback on my songs, as you know from you guys. I never listen to it, but I do like to get it. It's actually not true. I do listen to it. I do, and I do incorporate some of it, but for the most part, people are frustrated because it's like, it's like, I like it the way it is.
It's kind of interesting to delve into the process of
Yeah,
Michael's
yeah.
brain as he's writing these songs.
Interestingly enough, the people that I co-write with, and I, report back to them, it's like, it's like, well, they said we should do this and this and this, but I like it the way it is, and they'll say, yeah, me too.
Well, it's pretty subjective.
It
Yeah, I
is,
love
and that's probably why I don't have any top 40 songs or anything like that.
it.
Can't listen to advice, I can't get his head on straight. That boy, look at him.
Well,
Oh,
give us your most top 40 song that you have
my most top
next.
40 song. Oh my God.
Sing that next.
I I don't know if I have one, but I'm gonna do this one. This is a new song. It's not out, but um, could be a country song. Except I don't think any country artist would ever sing this song. It's called "The Hardest Thing to See." The first time that we ever kissed, it tasted sweet as grenadine, but the last thing I had on my lips had a hint of gasoline. I never meant to hurt you, girl. I can hold you with a fist. When I see you stepping out from a touch that you resist, I've seen you angry, seen you hurt, seen you wearing someone else's shirt. This much I can guarantee: the hardest thing to see was when you walked away from me. Now I don't mean to set on fire every treasure that I touch, but sometimes when the passion burns, it don't seem to matter much. One thing I don't understand: the hands of a man can have a way to pick up love like a wounded bird, then shoot it down when it flies away. I've seen you angry, seen you hurt, seen you wearing someone else's shirt. This much I can guarantee: the hardest thing to see was when you walked away from me. You walked away, old black and blue, couldn't have been clearer. I saw myself come into view. You were just the mirror. I've seen you angry, seen you hurt, seen you wearing someone else's shirt. This much I can guarantee: the hardest thing to see was when you walked away from me. Yeah.
Very
So,
nice. So I'm so curious about how much influence. I mean, for years, you had different jobs in the government. I mean,
mhm.
like you lived in Los Alamos, and like you said, you lived overseas for a while, and then you were there in the Washington area,
Yeah.
in Virginia, and so I guess you had different kinds of government jobs.
Well, the Foreign Service, you're changing jobs every couple of years. It's kind of an odd system. It's a great job if anybody's interested in traveling overseas and doing different things. It's one where you can get all kinds of experience and all kinds of things. And interestingly enough, when I got back to DC, one of the places I worked in was the International Disability Rights office group or whatever. I can't remember what the original official title was. But that was the time that Galen Lee won the Tiny Desk contest. I don't know if you know about that, if you've ever seen
Hmm.
her or heard her, but she's great. And I said, I got to get her, and I somehow managed, to get her to come down to the State Department and do a concert in the library there, which we broadcast globally to all the disability rights groups throughout the world, and plus the all those headquartered in DC. She got to meet and everything, which is great. But I got to meet her, and she's like a, I don't know, little fairy. I guess like one of the most, I don't know, scintillating people I've ever met. She's great and a great musician too.
Now, what
So
was your job title?
I was a foreign service officer.
Okay. So, no, okay.
And that's what they call, a generalist. They call us generalists.
Uh-huh.
And but my particular path was political officer, but you didn't get restricted to that. You get to do cultural things. You get to do events. I did science and technology stuff and everything. I battled avian influenza in Egypt, and yeah, I was in all kinds of places, Africa, Baghdad.
So,
So
those experiences that you've had for, doing that work all these years in different places, how has that affected your songwriting? I mean,
affected, affected,
yeah, yeah.
affected, affected. No, sorry, not at all. I don't
No,
know.
you haven't. And all of those experiences. I mean, sounds like you've had some really interesting experiences, but you haven't integrated that in any of your storytelling or anything like that, huh?
I could, but I'd probably go to prison.
Oh, it's one of those. If I sang about it, I'd have to kill you thing.
Yeah, kind of thing.
I
Yeah.
always wondered about that.
I actually wrote a poem called "If You Read This, You Will Die."
Well, you should turn that into a song. If you hear this, you'll die. Oh, then nobody would listen to it. All right, let's ground us a little bit here with another song.
Ground you? Me? Ground you? Let's see. How much time do we have here? Um. Okay. So let me see. I'll do one that's a little. She's got a steady job down at probation and parole. She got it at a high school maybe 20 years ago. The girlfriends she knew then are all married off, except the one in prison and the one that owns a flower shop. She has a boyfriend she keeps in a photo. The future floats by down a dark, empty street, a discarded wrapper from somebody's dream, in a world that's protected by rockets and comes to an end in the words of the prophets. She can't believe the things she believes in and sings, just to keep breathing. La da da da, la da da da. At the table in the kitchen, she picks apart some chicken bones for a vision of the Virgin or some kind of omen. Cottonwood branches beat time on the shutters. A lowrider stalks with the thunder of drummers. She waits for tomorrow, but Morning has broken. The future floats by down a dark, empty street. A discarded wrapper from somebody's dream. In a world that's protected by rockets and comes to an end in the words of the prophets. She can't believe the things she believes in and sings. Just keep breathing. La da da da, la da da da. Her friends and her family tell her she's pretty. When she looks in the mirror, it's cracked and it's dirty. She sleeps in a bedroom where somebody died once. There's nothing to fear, according to science, and her lips are the color of violence. The future floats by down a dark, empty street. A discarded wrapper from somebody's dream. In a world that's protected by rockets and comes to an end in the words of the prophets. She can't believe the things she believes in and sings. Just to keep breathing. La da da da, la da da da, la da da da.
Now, is that called Keep Breathing?
Just to keep breathing.
Just to keep breathing.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I know,
how
my
did
mother
that
told.
story get started?
I don't know. I was driving down the street one day in Bernalillo, New Mexico, and I saw the Office of Probation and Parole. And just the line, "She's got a steady job down at probation and parole," came into my head. And then this woman started bugging me till I wrote her about her. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
It's just like, I had about 30 pages of lyrics, and it came down to that.
Hmm.
It is a long process. I mean, for me, I'm a slow songwriter. I mean, um, I've spent I've had songs that took 30, 40 years to write, and the last one that I wrote was Shanna. Probably started writing about 10 years ago. You know, so it just, and then there are some that come out real fast. Like the one that Eric and I won the USA songwriting contest for, "Cheap as a Kiss." That was pretty fast. "Gone, Gone, Gone" was relatively fast too, although the raw material for it had been simmering with me since I was a kid.
Yeah. So,
So
yeah, now that you talked about you're into Eric, now we're going to talk about Eric a little bit,
okay.
or
Sure,
co-writing.
talk about Eric. Yeah,
Let's just talk about co-writing for a minute.
yeah.
I mean, like the experience of it for you, and like if you had any advice for songwriters who on co-writing, who are planning to co-write, or um,
Well, in Nashville, it's a business. They'll go in, they'll co-write with somebody they've never met before, and they'll write a song, and then go off for lunch and come back and write another song with somebody else. And it's you know that's one way to do it. And but people also talk about, people find the people they like to work with too. And there's a big emphasis on finding a good hang. Somebody you resonate with. And the people I've written with most, basically, yeah, that's been the main um, glue. There is, it's
mm,
like yeah, we kind of get each other in a way, you know. True for Eric, true for Harry, you know, and so many others, you know, Scott, you know, and I hate to make a list because then it's like I'm leaving people out, and I don't want to offend people by leaving them out, but you know, those are people that you know. It's like, yeah, I could just hang with them. I mean, Scott Thorne and I sat in a hotel room once during Tin Pan South and wrote a song about an hour, you know, and so it was real easy. I mean, but actually, I had been working on that lyric probably for several months before, and it's like, hey, let's finish the song. It's like, yeah, and then he just wrote out some music, you know, song
So you
about.
came with a beginning, a story started, and a lot of imagery, I'm sure.
I think,
I
yeah,
like
it's
your
like
imagery, that you come up with in your songs.
sure.
Wrapper of dreams.
It took 15 minutes to write and 40 years to think about,
Yeah. Hmm.
you know,
So,
that kind of thing.
like when you're writing with somebody else, how does it start? Do you bring a list of hooks and old lyrics or whatever, and then just start shooting out ideas of what you have, and then they just say, okay, well, let's do that one, or how does
Well,
that
I think,
work?
you know, that's a very common Nashville thing to do, and it's a good way. If you're going to go into a room like that, I'd suggest having those hooks and titles and things like that, you know, to go in with some ideas, you know, song ideas and things. I usually will have something. Sometimes, you know, for me, it's like I like to have a lyric that's in a certain condition at least before I present it to somebody else, you know, so they know what I'm doing, you know,
Mhm.
because but sometimes it'll just start off with um, well, Harry and I went back and forth. He had some experiences, near death experiences. I'll play that one for you, you know, and he sent off some lines to me, and then I don't know, is this close enough? Maybe not.
Mhm.
Um, and so you know, and then I worked it into, well, they're all off, into a song, and then sent it back to him, and then you know, but it was like, and that was a case where he came up with the core, the core of the song, and then I built around it, and we both contributed to that, and then I hate capos. I hate capoing up because I know some people they just they just go back and forth and they got it there, you know. It's like I wish I had that gift, but I don't. Anyway, but here's a song. So it started off with just a few lines, and then it expanded it out to four verses and a bridge. And these some of the stuff was material that I had had sitting around for a while, you know, and it's
Mhm.
like, oh, they just fit, you know, in there.
Mhm. What's it called?
The things that you get used to. I think you've heard.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Dying's not as easy as it used to be. Living's just a habit I fell into. The future that I planned is just a memory. Ain't it funny about the things that you get used to? Dark clouds and a raging wind gonna bring a driving rain, but you won't budge an inch until it moves you. You can bleed and wait to die without feeling any pain. Ain't it funny about the things that you get used to? I regret the words I didn't say, lying in your bed, knowing that without them I would lose you. I fell into your arms and you just left me there for dead. Ain't it funny about the things that you get used to? And I'm standing on the shoreline of an ocean I can't see, waiting for the tide to roll on in. I might need to make a stand or find a dream to set me free, but I'm not giving in. A silent breeze sneaks up on me in the dead of night, the ghosts of every heart I brought the blues to. The stars look down like angels trying to teach my soul to fly. Ain't it funny about the things that you get used to? Yeah, it's funny about the things that you get used to.
Well, all righty. Hey, well, so I've got one last question for you, and then I want you to just play us out. So you can just
Okay.
play however many songs we have left for time. And this is, do you have any advice for anybody who's want to be a songwriter or who wants to improve their songwriting?
Get
It
a
doesn't have to
job.
be a long answer, just,
Yeah.
some points.
Get a day job is the first advice. Get a skill, so you can survive and feed your family. You got to do that. I mean, you can just be like Bob Dylan, just go out there and just be a songwriter, and that works too. But you gotta, you know, be able to live in your car and so on. I am a person who believes in sanity and work-life balance. I never believed in uh, you know the the doomed artist kind of thing, the Towns Van Zandt kind of path. Um, I think you have a family. If you have a family, or you have kids, whether you're married or not, you have a responsibility for it. And that's part of being a human being. I was going to say man, but I think it's a human being. That you got to take care of the people that you got to take care of. So that's and but read as much as possible. Read a lot of poetry. Read literature. Watch movies.
I
Good
was
stuff.
wondering when you were going to say that. We see all those books behind you.
Oh yeah.
You're a great reader.
Well, those are the ones I haven't read yet. I that's my list.
It-
um, yeah, but I do. I like a lot of poetry. I like world literature. I mean, I learn another language. It's great. I've studied a lot of languages. And read poets. French, Russian, Japanese, Chinese. I mean, it's Spanish. Pablo Neruda, like I said, mentioned Rimbaud, Baudelaire, all those people. One of my favorite songwriting models was Jacques Brel. The Belgian singer-songwriter. Probably nobody would know him now, but he was pretty prominent. Certainly an influence on a lot of people.
Well, you seem to be prepared. I mean, you've been songwriting for a long time. You've got a lot of lyrics that you're prepared to go into a co-writing situation with, so you're working at it all the time so that whenever the opportunity comes up for something, then you've got some work under your belt already. And
Yeah,
I think that's a big part of it. But also, you're doing a workshop at the library or something.
in
Did I
Panama
see that?
City.
Did
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see that on Facebook?
yeah. Doing a lyric workshop.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
So
thought
continuing to learn all the time and then teaching,
yeah,
also is great because it just sinks it in,
teaching
helps
is
you.
another way of
Yeah.
learning.
Yeah, it is.
It really
Yeah.
is.
Mhm.
So do
Well,
that.
okay, let's see. So we've got about 10 more minutes.
Okay, so
And so that's good. Could be three good songs there.
could be one of them's bound to be good, right? Okay, so I'll do I'll do one of more of my more exotic songs. Okay, called "A Bat Flying in the Night." Yeah, ooh, that's terrible. I have no ear for music, but even I could hear that one. Yeah, it's the humidity. Jeez, I just tuned this thing.
You have a tornado coming through town, or the
I don't know. It's
barometer
probably
dropping, or
yeah, it probably is. You know, so the air conditioner went on. I don't know. So here we go. Bat flying in the night. I've been dragging these old songs around like suitcases of clothes that smell like hell. I got a feeling that the devil has been on to me. She knows about the stories I can never tell. The shadow on the floor is staring back at me, daring me to make my getaway from all the shady figures I pretend to be. And then there is that better man standing in my way. As all my fantasies take flight, leaving me with nowhere else to stand. I'm like a bat flying in the night, singing songs to find out where I am. I pick up songs like sentimental snow globes, souvenirs from an antique shop that come to life whenever they are shaken and settle down in frozen time the moment that you stop. You might say there's nothing in the desert. Well, maybe it's just something you don't see, like the men who walked away from Galilee, wondering what rising from the dead might really mean. As all my fantasies take flight, leaving me with nowhere else to stand. I'm like a bat flying in the night, singing songs to find out where I am. I see the stars that shine like guided missiles falling softly through the evening skies, in an atmosphere of unexploded wishes and the unexpected love that always takes me by surprise. The Milky Way is stretched across the heavens, fragile as a single strip of gauze, fantastic as the stories that are written on a thin page of the Bible between nothingness and God. As all my fantasies take flight, leaving me with nowhere else to stand. I'm like a bat flying in the night, singing songs to find out where I am. It'll haunt your dreams, huh? Did I put you to sleep?
we're here. I'm
Oh,
waiting for the next song.
next song. Okay,
Give us
so
another one.
One more song. By the way, that last song had Bill O'Hanlon's fingerprints on it in there somewhere. Yeah. Okay. I got to get Eric in there somewhere. An old lady once told me about a Lake Erie water spout. All the water ran away from the beach. She swore she could walk up to Canada, so far away and so out of reach. Even she can't trust her memory. The lake is there for all to see, but it was gone, gone, gone. I once stood out in a cornfield late at night, all alone, looking up at the sky. Suddenly the stars fell down, all at once they rushed to earth. I stared for a long, long time. I never saw it in the news, like it never happened. They were gone, gone, gone. All these wonders that seem so mysterious, we can't believe our eyes. Standing right in front of us, they still take us by surprise. Then they're gone, 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 gone. There was a girl who said she'd marry me. She was more than I could ever hope for, but I was more than she could carry. My heart was an exploding star. Then the universe went dark. Forever is so temporary. I never saw that girl again, like it never happened. She was gone, gone, gone. All these wonders that seem so mysterious, we can't believe our eyes. Standing right in front of us, they still take us by surprise. Then they're gone, 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 gone.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael. That was the song that I mentioned in the intro. That was our runner-up for our 2021 international song contest.
Yeah,
It was the grand prize runner-up.
yeah.
Thank you
Well,
so
there.
much for coming and joining us, Michael, tonight. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I
And
never heard Ramsey in that last one.
yeah, I don't want to forget to thank Harry, who is the Oz behind the curtain back there, and the brains and technical expertise. Thank you, Harry,
Yes.
for directing this program. In closing, I'd like to thank all of you out there for tuning in to the Dallas Songwriter Spotlight with guest songwriter extraordinaire, Michael R.J. Roth. I'm Barbara McMillen. Good night, all from Dallas, Texas, and from Panama City, Florida. Good night, everybody.
Right.